It's a tale of two marches, two completely different worldviews, and how the media addresses them. Hello, I'm David Fiorazo, and welcome to Christ and Culture. Every year since judicial activists on the U.S. Supreme Court legalized the practice of abortion, the annual March for Life has been held in Washington, D.C., drawing hundreds of thousands of concerned Americans. Last year, a very different march began. The not-so-family-friendly Women's March took place in various American cities, and among their values are the right to choose... Choose what, exactly? We'll get to that. Did you know there have been over 60 million abortions in the U.S. since Roe V. Wade legalized abortion in 1973? Most Christians would say abortion is a glaring indicator of a nation's depravity. Heck, even the animal kingdom knows to protect life in the womb. Did you also know that the Latin word for fetus is little one? So what exactly are they choosing? To terminate a pregnancy, they say. Well, what's a pregnancy? It is when a living human being with a separate DNA and a beating heart is growing inside a mother's womb. It means a woman is with child, just like the Bible teaches. Let's not candy coat it. Is abortion, then, the right to choose to eliminate a living human being? Well, what about the preborn person's rights? Do they have any? Think about this. If a pregnant woman is attacked and murdered, God forbid, and loses the baby, the attacker can be charged with double homicide. Why? Because 2 lives were taken. And now a tale of 2 marches, according to the media. Since about 90% of the liberal media support abortion, last year the networks covered the Women's March 129 times more than the annual March for Life. And here's how NBC briefly reported on the March for Life this year. Quote, "The president directly addressed a massive crowd of anti-abortion activists at the annual March for Life rally in the nation's capital." Anti-abortion activists. Yep, we're just a bunch of radicals that want people to be allowed to be born. So how much time did the networks give to the March for Life? Ready? 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Barely mentioning more than 100,000 marchers a few Fridays ago. However, that same media gave the Women's March 7 times more coverage this year. And that's not surprising, by the way. They're not even trying to hide their bias anymore, especially when it comes to political and social issues, which, by the way, are moral issues. Okay, so how about some good news? Let's look at some recent surveys, right? 76% of Americans want more restrictions on abortion now. Just 12% of Americans agree with the Democratic Party's platform, the abortion platform, which supports abortion on demand at any time for any reason. And when it comes to eliminating unborn children diagnosed with a genetic disorder such as Down syndrome, 64% say abortion is morally wrong. Plus, an overwhelming majority of citizens oppose giving our tax dollars to Planned Parenthood. Catching up with the Bible, ultrasounds, sonograms, and other medical advances point to the fact human life begins at conception. Begins at conception inside the womb. In another recent pro-life win, the House passed a bill that would protect babies born alive after botched abortions. Thank God. And finally, more young people today are pro-life than ever before, in part because we have technology that was not available in the 70s. And I want to share a verse with you, a scripture that is exactly what we're talking about here, from Psalm 139. "For you," now talking to God, "for you formed my inward parts. You wove me in my mother's womb." Another translation says, "You wove me together." Verse 16 says, "Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before I was even born, or before one of them came to be." That's from Psalm 139. Wow. Bottom line, God created you and me in His image. Let's promote the value of every single human life and make abortion unthinkable. Hollywood, government, the education system, the media, they're not going to defend the most vulnerable. It's up to us. And truth, facts, and science, are on our side. I'm David Fiorazo. God bless you and keep speaking the truth about things that matter.